Hi, I'm Cox with BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. And for this week's question, I got a question from Jeff asking, how do you attract magazine and publication work or commercial work? Man, that's a good question. I had to think about it for a second because here's the thing, I've never really worked. And so I think he worded it right. How do you attract? I've never really gone out and said, hey, you guys should use me. Hey, call, which I think is actually kind of important. I kind of think maybe I should do more of that, or maybe people should, be more proactive to go out there and get it. What I've tend to have done, like here's an image I did for a magazine cover, right? And I actually have, a lot of this stuff I've done in this book I've done for but I've got boxes, literally boxes of magazines with my images in them, whether they be like covers. There's kind of a couple categories: covers, maybe spreads inside. Sometimes articles that I've written for photography magazines, let's say. Sometimes they're like out of the country magazines. They call me, hey, we want to use one of your articles. Can we do this? And I get a copy of that magazine, put it in the box, right? So anyway, I got and sometimes here's the other one, like ads. Like a commercial client calls me and they go, hey, we need some great images. We need something for a magazine ourselves. And I go, great, tell us a little bit about what you're looking for, and we shoot these things. They end up in a cool magazine, and then I get a copy of that, put it in the box. So I got all these, there's kind of a lot of categories. But I think the biggest thing is to, one, have a unique style. The whole idea of getting an image in a magazine is that it has to grab attention. People have to look at it. This is not going to help me showing this. I'll have to cut to some of these images. But this is some commercial stuff for a musician. But the whole idea is, what can you show that isn't just a picture of somebody, but actually grabs their attention? This is actually some commercial stuff for her website. So I think what most people do is they think, I got to copy so-and-so, or I just need to get a picture. And they're not thinking in terms of lighting, in terms of sculpting that person and making them look amazing. They're thinking in terms of lighting as an exposure. Oh, I need F8, let's add a light, or let's add a reflector. I need to get F8. And everything else I'm going to fix in Photoshop. So I think, one, getting some realism, almost zero Lightroom and Photoshop. And I talk about that in my lighting and workflow courses, how do you get almost zero Photoshop on an image so everything looks amazing coming out of the camera. And that makes it pop. That gives it, just people look at it and they're like, that's different. I know it's different. I don't know why it's different. They're not technically trained. They just go, that's different. And then the second thing is engaging that individual that you're photographing to really get emotion out of them. So those two things I think are very helpful. And then hopefully what that does, it gives your images a style and it gives it a look where you then are attracting those kind of clients. So what happens, like for me, what I've had a lot is maybe I'm shooting a family. The dad owns a business of some kind, and he goes, hey, I really like what you do. Like, do you ever shoot blank products or something, And I go, yeah, actually, but I shoot it in a very unique way because for me, it's all about lighting and expression. If it's a product, I'm not going to worry about, smiles and stuff, but I'm still going to get the lighting and I'm going to make sure that's telling a story, this little product, whatever it is, that it really is going to pop and look amazing. And they're like, yeah, that's what we want. It's going to cost a little more, obviously, because I'm not just some guy with cheap gear and no training, just shooting products all day long. I am really putting a lot of heart and soul into this, and hopefully they see it, and hopefully they get it. And then that ends up in a double-page spread as an ad somewhere, right? And then same thing, like some of these, like a magazine will call me, and sometimes they've been like small magazines that are kind of starting up, and they'll say, hey, we really need something cool for a cover. We can't afford to pay you. Then here's where I'll come in and say, well, what can you do for me? Because I just don't do it for free. How about we trade for some ads? I get a couple full page ads, and they're like, oh, that's too much. Oh, okay, then you can pay me. Okay. So sometimes little magazines are willing to trade a little bit. Bigger magazines, they just want to know what the rate is, and they'll pay. Or sometimes they'll say, our fee is this. We'll pay you whatever for this photo to be used in this size. And it's always a usage, like how much is it going to be used? How's it going to be used? And let's talk about that. So I don't know if that helps. I think one, expression, lighting, as little Photoshop as possible. When you look at a lot of stuff in high-end magazines, it's not like this super Photoshop stuff. And even though there might be some work done, it's so minutely done and so carefully done. It's not these awful filters. So one, having some great images that are well done, that are technical and creative. And then two, doing things to get those out there. Facebook, your website, Instagram, things to get those out where people start to recognize them. And I think that will help attract hopefully those kind of clients. And then don't dismiss a little bit of hustle on your end. Calling magazines you want to be in, looking up those numbers, calling. That's something I haven't done, but have meant to do. So I would recommend it. It's something I should do myself. All right. If you have any questions, America, send them to me. My website, BryCoxWORKSHOPS, BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. And keep in mind about all my courses, lighting, workflow, everything else. Also on my website in either DVD form or streaming, BryCoxWORKSHOPS.com. And until next time, America.